Welcome to Not My Reality. I'm your host as always, Vince Stradamus. Let's talk about socialism, because it seems like it's a new cool thing with a lot of younger people these days and a bunch of older people that I expect better of. While many on the left, they're presently tripping over themselves in order to advance socialism in the United States. It might be well to remember that this philosophy has been responsible for more deaths than any other history in the world. Yeah, I said deaths. Whatever. What are the numbers? It's hard to really know. Socialist and liberal organizations, they never disclose such and never support any objective research to know, because it undermines their hope of advancing socialism in the United States. Everywhere socialism has been tried, it has failed. Period. No excuses. That's the facts. Let's not get confused. The difference between socialism and communism is that in socialism, you retain personal property, and the government tells you what to do with it. In communism, there is no private property. Another fact, there's never been a true communist state, so don't play those word games with this. So for all you hot on the idea of socialism, let's take a look at the actual death totals of nations that have adopted this winning socialist philosophy. It's a parody. If you don't have a sense of humor, go. Welcome. Is this my reality? Is this your reality? Are you ready to hear the truth about socialism? Because it gets pretty grisly. Socialism ends in death, period. Here, the cold hard facts about socialism. We go back to 1979. Democratic Congressman Larry McDonald of Georgia entered into congressional record the numbers as reported up until 1978. As many as 143 million lives lost since 1917. Yeah, 143 million lives lost to socialism. It broke this number into categories. The human cost of communism in the USSR from 1917 to 1959 under Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin was, get this, 66,700,000. The USSR from 1959 to 78 was 3 million. And there's China. From 1949 to 1978, the number is 63 million people. All but 2 years under Mao Zedong. Another 3 million German civilians were killed during the expulsions of 1945 and 1946. Following World War II, freedom fighters rose in resistance to socialism in East Berlin, Prague, Budapest, and the Baltic states between 1945 and 1975, but the price was very heavy. 500,000 were slaughtered by the socialists. Death by socialism was experienced in communist aggression in Greece, Malaysia, Burma, Korea, Philippines, Vietnam, Cuba, Africa, and Latin America. The report attributed 3.5 million deaths in each area combined to socialism and its policies. But the highest per capita deaths due to socialism occurred in Cambodia, where 2.5 million of a total population of 7 million were executed. It's almost half of the population. They were executed by socialist leader Pol Pot between 1975 and 1978. You cannot make this shit up. 1 of every 3 people did not have the right to live and died in the killing fields, their bones scattered throughout Cambodia because of socialist policy. Chairman Mao Zedong, a favorite with the American left, he exterminated 1,176,000 just his first year alone. Death by socialism, that didn't let up after the initial enemies were destroyed either. 14 million Chinese were eliminated in the first 5 years of Maoism. He came to power in 1949 and he died in 1976. He was and still is the greatest mass murderer in human history. Followed in order by Joseph Stalin, between 40 million and 60 million people. Adolf Hitler had 6 million Jews and 5 million other undesirables. 11 million Germans in total. I think it was more than that. Nikita Khrushchev, he comes in at 11 million, starving his own Ukrainian people. Yeah, socialism seems to be working, huh, guys? Pol Pot, he's there at 2.5 million, half of his population. And then Vladimir Lenin, he comes in at a paltry 1.8 million. All of them, all these people, they're all socialists. Get it through your fucking head. They're socialists. Look, perhaps Genghis Khan could compete for a third place. He's credited with 40 million. But the real documentation as to his numbers is impossible to verify because it's 800 years ago. We know what these guys did. Just do the math. These numbers, consistent with others at the time, they vary as to how personally involved each socialist dictator was in these killings. Hitler, for example, he didn't kill anyone, but his socialist policies resulted in the death of millions. Khrushchev's 11 million was not attributed to him, but to Stalin, as he was working under Khrushchev's direction. Comparatively, Fidel Castro, he only killed 15,000. But most of these were firing squads at his own direction. Socialists, liberals, whatever you want to call them, they prefer lower numbers and make the issue about the accuracy of the numbers rather than socialism and its horrific death history. Look, do what you want with the numbers, but if we're around 143 million murders due to socialism, it remains horrifying. So we're at approximately 143 million people already, and these figures do not cover death due to socialism in the last 41 years, mostly because of two factors. The first, the more violent nature of socialism, and it is violent, has been rejected by most of the world, as expressed by the fall of the Berlin Wall, and thereafter the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. Still, there have been violent socialist revolutions, in Nicaragua for one, led by Daniel Ortega in the 1980s, Ethiopia, Bosnia, Herzegovina in the 90s, and more recently, Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. Each time it has led to extreme economic hardship, even the people having to eat out of garbage cans to eat their own fucking pets. This is tyranny, this is death. Over 100,000 died in Bosnia, mainly Bosniaks, in the first example of ethnic cleansing since World War II. The United States, we have to maintain over 800 military bases throughout the world, sufficient to deter any of these would-be mass murderers that we saw in the 20th century. We are by default the world's policemen, and we're paying for it. Death and tyranny lie at the heart of socialism, ready to spring forth without warning to its most violent form. The Constitution, our Constitution, when followed, protects us from socialism. That's why they're trying to undermine it. It recognizes natural law and the individual rights and places limits on the government. Under socialism, no such protection from total government exists. Once a society believes that the wealth of their neighbor belongs to them, it will never be expunged. They're never going to get past that. So we're close to that right now. If the United States falls to socialism, who the is going to protect us and the world from it? No one. Wake up. There's no easy way in life. But socialism fucking sucks. Okay, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's go watch the original Red Dawn. I got it on DVD. I'll see you there. Peace.